Hello and welcome to Cashmatics. This is the second video in my series on standard form, and in this lesson I'll be showing you how to add, subtract, multiply and divide numbers in standard form. Now if you don't know how to convert between ordinary and standard form, then I suggest you watch my other tutorial first. So grab yourselves a pen and some paper and let's get started. Now before we go through some examples, we need to cover some rules and indices, and hopefully this is just a recap for you. So if you've got powers of the same number, when you multiply powers of the same number, you add the powers, and that's what's going on over here. So x to the power 7 multiplied by x to the power 8 gives you x to the power 15. 7 plus 8 is 15. If you're dividing powers of the same number, you subtract the powers. So a to the power m divided by a to the power n is a to the power m take away n. So y to the power 11 divided by y to the power 3, you do 11 take away 3 to get y to the power 8. Now before we go on to the other examples, we also need to cover these questions. Okay, these will form the basis of what we're going to do next. So here I've got 3a to the power 5 multiplied by 8a to the power 7. So the first thing we focus on is the 3 and the 8. 3 multiplied by 8 gives us 24, and a to the power 5 multiplied by a to the power 7, remember, you add the powers in this instance and you get a to the power 12, okay, because you're multiplying powers of the same number. Over here, you've got 12a squared multiplied by 3a to the power 19. So you do 12 times 3, which is 36. A squared times a to the power 19. Because it's a multiplication, we add these powers. So it's 2 add minus 19, which is the same as 2 take away 19, to give me minus 17, so that's a to the power minus 17. And over here we need to divide, so 24 divided by 3 gives me 8. And a to the power 14 divided by a to the power 6, you do 14 take away 6, which is 8, so that's 8a to the power 8. Now I've got to be extra careful with this one here. I've got 18 divided by 2, which is 9, so that bit's easy. Then I've got a to the power 7 divided by a to the power minus 6. So I need to subtract the powers, but 7 take away minus 6 would be the same as 7 add 6 to leave me with a to the power 13, because 7 take away minus 6 gives me 7 plus 6, which is 13. Okay, so please make sure you understand the index rules and you can deal with negative numbers when you're adding and subtracting them before we move on. So we'll focus on multiplication first. Okay, this first sum here, I want you to think of this as 2a to the power 7 multiplied by 3a to the power 4. Okay, and the answer to that would be 6a to the power 11. Okay, so you multiply the 2 and the 3 to give you the 6. A to the power 7 multiplied by a to the power 4, you add the powers to give you a to the power 11. Now the a is like your 10. Okay, so these are powers of 10. So it's exactly the same thing going on here. Instead of the a, you can have a 10. So 2 times 3 is 6, multiplied by 10 to the power 11. Okay, so that's that first one done. The second one, let's do this one next. 1.2 times 3 is 3.6, multiplied by 10 to the power. So you do 7 plus 9, which is 16. Here I've got 4 times 10 to the power 3 multiplied by 1.5 times 10 to the power minus 10. I've got to be careful here because I've got a negative power as well. So let's do the 4 times 1.5 first. That's 6 multiplied by 10 to the power. Now let's have a look. I need to do 3 add minus 10, which is the same as 3 take away 10, which is minus 7. And this last one here, I've got to be really, really careful because I've got a minus 2 and a minus 5. So just watch what you're doing. 1.4 times 3 is 4.2. times 10 to the power, now let's have a look, minus 2 add minus 5 is the same as minus 2 take away 5, which is minus 7. Okay, that's 4.2 times 10 to the power minus 7. Now you might wonder why these ones on the right are special cases. Now we were fortunate with these examples over here. This first number in all the cases is between 1 and 10. And that's the requirement for a number to be in standard form. It has to be between 1 and 10. It can't be 10, but it can be 1. Okay, so that fits that requirement. But over here, we're going to end up with a bit of a problem. Because if I do 4 times 3, I get 12 multiplied by 10 to the power. Now you do 6 plus 8, which is 14. Now at first glance, it looks like it's in standard form, but it actually isn't. Because the 12 is outside of the valid numbers for A. Okay, it's got to be between 1 and 10, and that's not. So what you do instead is you do 1.2 times 10 to express the 12 multiplied by 10 to the power 14, and then you put together these powers of 10. So 10 times 10 to the power 14 is 10 to the power 15. So I get 1.2 times 10 to the power 15. Okay, so now it's in standard form. And similarly over here, I do 5.5 times 2, which is 11, multiplied by 10 to the power. Now let's have a look. I've got 4 add minus 9, so that's 4 take away 9, which is minus 5. But again, this first bit needs to be written differently. So 1.1 times 10, now the first bit is valid, times 10 to the power minus 5. So that's like 10 to the power 1 there. 10 to the power 1 times 10 to the power minus 5. You do 1 add minus 5, which gives you minus 4. So 1.1 times 10 to the power minus 4. Okay, so watch out for the ones which don't end up in standard form. Anyway, I've got some questions for you to try. So give them a go. Let's see how you get on. So here they are, 6 questions. Pause the video and then I'll reveal the answers shortly. Right, and here we go. How many of those did you get right? And did you fall for the trap where you didn't spot the ones which weren't in standard form? If you did, go back and look at them again. If you didn't, let's move on to division. Right, so here's some examples with division. Now, just as before, I've got some special cases, and I'm sure by now you can guess what's gonna happen there. But let's go through the basic ones first. So I need to do 9 divided by 3, which is 3, multiplied by 10 to the power. Now I need to do 8 take away 4 to give me 4. Okay, that's because I'm dividing. Okay, so 8 take away 4 gives me 4. So that was nice and easy. This one here, let's have a look. 2.4 divided by 2 is 1.2, multiplied by 10 to the power. Now let's have a look. 11 take away 3, that's 8. So another nice easy one. Next one, let's have a look. 5 times 10 to the power 3 divided by 2 times 10 to the power minus 8. 5 divided by 2 gives me 2.5, multiplied by 10 to the power. I've got to be careful here. 3 take away minus 8 is the same as 3 plus 8, which is 11. Okay, and the last one, 7.5 divided by 3 is 2.5, multiplied by 10 to the power. Now let's have a look. Minus 2 take away minus 18 is the same as minus 2 plus 18, which would be 16, right? And all those numbers are fine, they're in standard form. Over here, let's see what happens. So I've got 2.4 divided by 3. Now 2.4 divided by 3 is 0.8. So I'm hoping you've already spotted that that isn't between 1 and 10, so we're going to have to adjust it later. Multiplied by 10 to the power, now let's have a look. 13 take away 8 is 5. Now let's see what we can do here. And that is the same as 8 times 10 to the power minus 1. Okay, remember that means 8 divided by 10, which is 0.8, multiplied by 10 to the power 5. Okay, and now I've got to use my multiplication rule, which means I add these powers together. Right, so that would give me 8 times 10 to the power 4. And the last one, 4.8 divided by 8 is 0.6 times by 10 to the power. Now let's have a look here. Minus 2 take away 10 is minus 12. Right, now I need to adjust this first bit. So that's 6 times 10 to the power minus 1 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 12, leaving me with 6 times by 10 to the power. Now let's have a look. Minus 1 and minus 12 gives me minus 13. Okay, so you've got to be extra careful with division. It always throws up more problems than multiplication. So really be careful and watch what you're doing. Anyway, if you've absorbed all that, I'll put up some questions for you to try. So here you are, 6 questions for you to try. Watch out for the ones which aren't going to be in standard form and make sure you rewrite them so they are. Okay, so pause the video and give those a go. So I'm hoping you've had time to do those, and here are the answers. Right, so check through those, see if you've got them all right. If you've made some silly mistakes, just go through and see what you might have done wrong. I think it'll happen with parts E and F if you were going to make a mistake. And let's move on to addition and subtraction. Now normally, addition and subtraction are easier than multiplication and division, but in the case of standard form, it's actually a bit more fiddly, and there's no shortcut way of doing it. What you have to do is, first of all, just convert it into an ordinary number. Then you've got to do your calculation as normal, and then you have to convert it back into standard form. So let's look at this first example. So I'd have to convert this into a normal number first. So that would be 750,000. Okay, then I add on this number here, which would be 32,000. And then perform your addition, so 0.00287, and then write it in standard form. So that would be 7.82 times 10 to the power. So remember, 7.82, the decimal point would be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 10 to the power 5. Okay, so that's that one done. And this is just the same, we would just subtract instead. So 3.28 times 10 to the power 5 would be 328,000. Take away this, which would be 23,000. Okay, then perform your subtraction, leaving you with 305,000. And that would be 3.05 times 10 to the power 5. And that's all there is to it. It's a bit more fiddly than multiplication and division, but it's not difficult. Anyway, I'll give you a couple of these to try, and then we'll be done. Well, I said a couple, but I mean 4. Anyway, give these a go, pause the video, and then you can check your answers shortly. Okay, so I'm just about to reveal the answers. And there they are. Okay, so hopefully that's cleared up any issues you might have had with standard form. And that, together with the first video, should give you all you need to know about standard form. Right, hopefully that's been helpful, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.